to the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia, as CBS Sports continues its coverage of the 1988 NBA playoffs. It's Game 3 of the Eastern Conference semifinal, with the Boston Celtics traveling down to play the Hawks, who have yet to win in this series. Elsewhere in the East, Detroit and Chicago are through 3, with the Pistons leading 2-1, and Game 4 coming there in Chicago later this afternoon.
The Celtics that they have yet to bring to their game plan. They need to upbeat the tempo of the game, consistently use that speed in the attack end, offensive end of the court. And Dominique Wilkins also has to get off to a quick start.
This was the first shot in the second game in the Boston Garden for Dominique. It was a good one.
Well, Dominique is the emotional leader, and he's very much the first option on in their half-court offense that they were forced to play so much. And here he is taking his first shot, as you say, wide open one, and missing it.
That's what he's done in the opening period of 2 games, only 2 of 13. Compare that with Larry Bird.
Wilkins has to have a big shooting first.
They're going to say that front line of McHale, Parrish, and Bird amongst the greatest to ever play in the NBA. Casey Jones' final year, 4 straight championship series for the classy one. The Atlanta Hawks, the overriding question about this starting 5. Did it peak 2 years ago? Coach Mike Fratello hopes not. He hopes to climb right back in this with a win not only today, but a quick turnaround tomorrow night. Strom, Mathis, and Sarr, the alternate, they'll be working it. The Celtics in their traveling road green, and the Hawks in their home whites to tip it off. Rollins in there against Parrish. Hawks ball on the first series. Can they break out early here? That's the key question.
The Hawks and that half-court offense, in addition to Gordon Dominique, that they're trying to get off very quickly. There he is with the miss again. And a good outside shooting game from Whitman.
Parrish had it knocked away and out of bounds. Celtics ball. Parrish has played extremely well in this series. Dominique's shooting percentage against the Celtics, incidentally, after 2 is only .375 after hitting 48% in the win against Milwaukee in the opening round. Dennis Johnson, he hit that critical 3 against the Knicks, draws the double team. Parrish had a little difficulty getting the handle, and the reason why, there was a foul down on the inside, says Strom.
The contrast in the 2 games, and what Atlanta's hoping to do today, is play such a fast-paced game that Dominique Wilkins can get out in the open court as much as possible. And the Celtics want to slow it down, go to their strength inside, Bird and McHale.
Would you stay down for Bird? And Parrish just has jittery hands right now, Tommy.
Well, it takes a little while in a key game to get their heads, their feet, and their hands into it.
They arrived early last evening here in Atlanta, Georgia for this. Best of 7, got to win 4. They play 2-2, and then they go 1-1-1 if necessary the rest of the way. Rivers left alone as they sagged off him, and now Whitman, who has not shot well, gets it back on the long rebound. Rivers on the penetration goes to the glass.
He has been their most consistent player so far in this series, and mainly on penetration moves.
McHale has been sensational so far against not only the Knicks, but also the Hawks. Couldn't get the roll, and Whitman with the rebound. Bounce pass on the inside to Willis, and twice to the glass go the Hawks, and they come up successfully for a 4-point lead.
Well, there's a man that truly hasn't been exploited in this series, I don't think. Kevin Willis. He's got probably the best speed for his position on the court.
So the Hawks starting off a little quicker than they did in those first 2 games in the Boston Garden. Remember, that has plagued them. Now, Doc Rivers limping away as Spud Webb comes into the game, Tommy.
Well, this may be a factor. There's no question Spud Webb is going to put pace in the game for the Hawks. But they're losing their most effective and consistent player with the injury, who's going to the locker room right now, Doc Rivers.
So he limped off, and trainer Joe O'Toole quickly takes him away as Dominique, standing there in front of Casey Jones, gets ready to see what they can do defensively now with Spud Webb on the floor. They give up a lot of size, but they'll help him on a double team in case they try to post the little one up. Look at him reach into that with that great quickness, and he was able to save it. He contributes defensively, and there was a foul called.
Such a lively little player, and look at him come from out of nowhere to pick off that pass on the double teams. And that's what they need more of. They started to play aggressive defense in the second quarter of both the games in Boston, and they got climbed back into those ball games.
Whitman coming around the horn, misfired the shot, knocked out of bounds. Hit last by the Celtics. Hawks ball. That foul, incidentally, was on Dennis Johnson of the Celtics. Sprained right big toe is the report on Rivers. He'll try to return, but again, they have taken him to the locker room. The three jacked up by Wilkins, and it's missed.
Interesting matchup. Kevin McHale guards Dominic Wilkins.
McHale wanted it down and low. Now he gets it in deep quickly. Spud Webb helps out on the double team. So, what a mismatch that is to say that Webb is helping out against McHale. One of Kevin's arms is taller than Spud Webb. Now Ames muscling up. He has not shot well in this series so far. Here's that up-tempo game. Comes in with a left-handed layup.
It may be a happy accident for Atlanta because Spud Webb is going to put excitement in the first quarter for the Hawks.
Early timeout for that man. Back now in the Omni, the Hawks have broken out on top 6-0. How about this little man?
Well, the little man really puts a lot of quickness into the lineup, and he even helps out in the low post. He's a quick man to help double. Particularly, you would think wouldn't be effective against a big guy, but as soon as the big guy brings the ball down, his hands are so fast, he'll snatch it away from you.
Tommy, let's take a look at how Rivers injured his toe. He came down on the successful field goal, penetrating here beautifully against the defense, but he came down awkwardly on it. He has been taken to the locker room, and that's why Spud Webb is playing right now. And the Hawks break out on top of the Celtics, 6-0 here in the opening minutes of game number 3. Number 4 is tomorrow night. Knocked out of bounds in a breakfast this morning with K.C. Jones. He told us that he may take that into consideration later in this game and give some of his starters more minutes, but it depends on how the game unfolds. It's rejected. First block shot. It's a 2-on-1 bust out. Here's Willis.
Well, the Hawks are doing to the Celtics what the Celtics did to the Hawks at Boston Garden.
Bird gets the men in green on the scoreboard.
And here's the hard push, and they could be very successful against the Celtics because the Celtics sometimes are slow getting back on defense, and Spud Webb can really find openings in that type of defense.
He slips inside at that time in a half court and drew the foul. Johnson was behind him, and he commits his second personal here in the early minutes. So K.C. Jones now has his first coaching decision to make. And for the time being, K.C. electing to play that pat hand.
You know, Spud Webb is such a terrible matchup for the Celtics. Believe it or not, I think they're more fearful of him at times than they are of Dominic Wilkins because he's got such a tremendous speed advantage over either Dennis Johnson or Danny Ainge.
Pressure off the successful free throw. They get it into Bird's hands. He has their only field goal in this game. They go to 0-0, and Parrish makes it now a 10-4 game. Celtics get back quickly the last 2 trips defensively down the floor. Trailing by 6, it'll be their defense that'll have to dig in and get them back in it here with 8 minutes to go in the opening period.
The key defender is Danny Ainge over there doubling.
A pass off to Rollins. Hit it too hard on the glass. Hawks back defensively. Into Bird's hands. His spot all alone.
Celtics have a variation in a fast break themselves. They may not get layups, but boy, they sure know how to make those medium-range shots before the Hawk defense gets totally set up.
You bet, Tommy. Everybody thinks on a fast break you have to shoot layups. Not when you can shoot shots like that. I'm surprised they left Bird all alone out there. He's one player in the league. You'd never give daylight like that. Willis now moving into the paint, and he gets the roll for the Hawks. That's 6 points for him already, and it's a 12-6 Atlanta lead over Boston. Boston has hit its last 3 after going 0 for 4, make it 4 in a row now, and they quickly move to 50%. They're pounding the ball in on the inside, where they have hammered away at the Hawks in the first 2 games of this series.
Adam, that matchup, Robert Parrish has been very, very productive in the prior 2 games.
Now you can see Spud eyeing the floor from that beautiful angle there with Bird out on top. He's too quick, gives it up in the corner now, and they'll shoot from the wing. Defense offensive help left Willis alone for his 8th point of this opening period. Whip it inside to McHale. Layup.
There it is, the quick advance of the ball. And one of the Celtic big guys hustling up and posting up before the Hawks can give support defensive help.
This game means a lot to the Celtics. A year ago, they were forced to go 7 by Milwaukee and Detroit. That left them in a tired state for the championship series as the Hawks get this one down. Now with the Lakers struggling out west against Utah, the Celtics would like to get some rest time. They're going to go all out here in number 3 if they can. Ainge now from the perimeter bangs in the jump shot. He has not hit well in the first 2 games, but KC telling us this morning, forget about it. He's played great defense, and about 15 of his misses have come from 3s. That's how they've shot so far in the opening period.
They positioned Dominique Wilkins in a low post against McHale, who's a much bigger player.
And double team help by Bird getting the ball out of bounds. Did you see him attack that ball? Wilkins very tentative so far against the Celtics.
Kevin McHale is probably the ideal man to defend against Dominique Wilkins. If Wilkins goes outside, McHale can back off far enough to take away the speed advantage Wilkins has. And when Wilkins goes inside, McHale's got the size advantage on him.
That is their first miss in their last 7 shots, and McHale should have hit that one. That was an easy shot for him. Now we've got a timeout call here. Mike Fratello will huddle up his Hawks as Kevin McHale heads over to the Boston bench. It's 16-12 Atlanta. We'll be right back. An experienced team at work.
Yes, and right now you're going to see a really experienced team off a made basket by Atlanta take advantage of quickness, the little quickness that they have by just simply getting the ball in play quickly. A long pass up the court, down the sideline, the path of least resistance. You see McHale coming down, posting up, and no other defenders in there fast enough to help out against a very powerful low post player.
Back now from the locker room, the injured Doc Rivers suffered that toe injury here in the early moments of this game. Spud Webb has picked up the slack and been able to contribute both offensively and defensively so far, but he can't play every minute. They'll need Rivers back. He was trying to work the baseline, number 4 was that time, and the whistle came outside. Mathis sounding at that time, and an illegal defense has been called against the Celtics. Boston has changed up their defense against Dominique Wilkins. Every time he gets the ball on the outside right now, they're prepared to go double team him. I can watch the men in green set up defensively, and they certainly gave Wilkins that shot. And even that he didn't make cleanly. He needed a roll on it. Parrish tipped it in, Brent. And a 6-point lead, 18-12. Here's Johnson. Whitman coming over in time to throw him off a little bit. And here's Webb. Up tempo, changes direction, gives it off to Wilkins. Can create just with his speed. Everybody backs off of him, and he can really find the open man. Different first quarter, and the first 2 up in the Boston Garden. Hey, the Garden was rocking last night for the Bruins, wasn't it? There's McHale going to the glass, swinging in with that great reach of his second field goal here. It's 20-14, a 6-point Atlanta lead, and now McHale had a hand on the ball. It's on the floor, and the Celtics dive after it. McHale's long pass intercepted by Webb, who's all over the place. Spud penetrates, tapped in and missed. Parrish off into the hands of Johnson. Far wing is Ainge. Now cross. Here he is, Kevin McHale again. The Celtics will run at you. They're not very, very fast, but they're willing to play an up-tempo game with you. But this Spud Webb can really wreak havoc with their defense. His penetration really causes problems for the Celtics. Now Wilkins forcing a shot on the inside. He needs to involve some of his teammates. Off Bird, but picked up by Johnson. 2-on-1. Beautiful. Rivers returns. Webb forced to commit his first personal. You know, frequently you would be inclined to say when a ball bounces back into Dennis Johnson's hands, oh, the Celtics are lucky. But through the years, they're awfully lucky, and you get the impression they're always in the right place, where they belong. They try to fill the lanes on that, on the bust out, and that's why it bounced right back to Dennis. Dominique Wilkins was really not back onto the defensive end of the court. He was still complaining about getting fouled on his drive to the hoop. Celtics back to within 2 now. It's 20-18. And and it's an offensive push-off. The Celtics can tie it this trip.
Celtics have been trying various ways to contain Kevin Willis, one of their real good inside threats. They'll front him, so a pass to him is very difficult.
Let's see if they pound it in and shoot another layup here to tie this game. Celtics baskets come much easier than the Hawks. They wanted Parrish, and he lobbed it in a little high off the glass and go over on the turnover.
That was a good defensive stance that time by the Hawks to cut off Bird's move off the pick.
They leave Webb at the top of the perimeter. He is short. Ainge battling Willis for it, and it lasts by Willis. It'll go to the Celtics.
The Celtics have been attacking Dominique Wilkins primarily in the early parts of ball games, making him fight through an awful lot of picks to try and stay with Larry Bird, hoping that that will also affect his offense.
That time he's chasing him, Tommy, and Bird comes away from him on the inside. And Larry Bird, with his 5th and 6th points of the game now, draws the Celts even at 20 and 2:35 opening period. And again, we see Wilkins getting into the middle. Tommy, tell me something about Dominique, the last 2 shots in the middle. Is he forcing it, or do they want him to take that shot under pressure?
What the Celtics are trying to do is they know he's such a great leaper and has got elevation, can cover a lot of ground with that leap. What they try and do is angle him off the basket and force him to another man. The further out they can do that, the better, of course. And Dominique, if he can make a spin move, that's when he's the most dangerous. So Kevin McHale is very alert not to overplay him so much that Dominique can spin back to the hoop, and he's expecting a lot of help from Dennis Johnson or Danny Ainge.
Mark Akers, Tommy, we saw him on the monitor check into the game for the Celtics. Antoine Carr has checked in for the Hawks as both coaches go to their bench now for the first time. And you saw Parrish come out and sit down. Now Rivers is out there, but he is nursing that toe as he comes past us. He's working the backcourt with Webb. Antoine Carr is out here on Larry Bird right now, and Bird takes him around the screen by McHale. Misses. Hawks rebound. Shooting another low percentage in this game. He wanted McHale, deflected by the Hawks out of bounds. Celtics ball. Now number 53, Cliff Livingston, in for the Hawks. Wilkins so far is 3 of 7 in this game, and Bird is 3 of 5, and Wilkins sits down. Bird with a 3. Livingston rebounds, and here's Rivers. Tommy, you can see that the Hawks are a step slower when Rivers brings it down than compared to this man right here. Carr. McHale rebounding. Johnson patiently bringing the ball across for the Celtics.
The Hawks really don't have that much of a low post game to go to.
Intercepted beautifully that time by Rivers, but Bird gets back on him. Great bounce pass over here to Livingston for the field goal.
Livingston is another speed merchant, so the Hawks can really throw 4 at you very, very fast if they continue to put that into play. Casey Jones will have to go deep into his bench because he'll have a tired bunch of Celtics.
Illegal defense at one side, you can almost count on it happening at the other end. Here's John Battle, number 12, into the game. Willis sits down. Hastings on the floor for the Hawks. Fratello feeling he is deeper than this Celtic team, using his bench a little more. Johnson bangs in the jump shot.
That's another low post option that the Celtics can count on in this series. They feel they can go right at Doc Rivers down there with Dennis Johnson.
Crowd wanted to foul on McHale. Battle keeps coming into the double team, and it's a jump ball call.
Celtics try and divert the penetration to another teammate, and they've done it quite successfully here.
Fratello and Strom getting into it. Strom warning the Atlanta coach. Johnson, but Rivers is back, and here comes Ainge in on the wing, and Johnson on the follow, couldn't get a handle. Complaining to Strong that he was fouled. No call on that one. Inside of a minute.
That was a great defensive play by Doc Rivers.
Down on the inside, pushing his car as Ainge had come down along with Akers. Number 31 in for the first time here this afternoon with Bird sitting down.
Celtics have had difficulty getting an offensive rhythm as they've gone to their bench in this series.
There's Minifield. So there's Akers, McHale, Roberts, Ainge, and Minifield. Ainge and McHale, the two starters still on the floor. As for the Hawks, it's Battle, Carr, Rivers, Livingston, and Hastings out there. So no one has gone all the way for Fratello. Battle off the dribble. Could not get the ball to stay down.
That's the type of shots they've been missing. That was a wide open layup attempt by John Battle. They can't afford to miss shots like that.
The Celtics can feel happy with themselves if they get out of this period with a tie. Last shot time, the open man Minifield on the cut. And he drew the foul. In the closing seconds of the opening period, the Celtics penetrate. Now, wait a minute. It's going the other way.
Hold on, Kevin McHale.
Both Rogers and Jones came up on that call. So the Hawks will take a lead after the first period here in Atlanta. 24-22. Hawks lead it. Well, Brent Musburger with Tommy Heinsohn. Tommy, your observation of that opening period.
Well, I think because of the injury to Rivers and Spud Webb's insertion into the ball game earlier than normal, they were forced to pick up the tempo of the game. And I think that really did a great job for the confidence of a lot of the other players. Maybe not for Dominique Wilkins, but the other players. Willis got into it. Carr got into it. So, and Boston did climb back into it. Bird has not had his normal game in the first quarter, so Dominique has been playing fairly decent defense against him.
Tommy, at the end of one in the opening game, 38-23 Boston. Second game, 25-9 Boston. Here Atlanta, 24-22. Now, what about KC's bench as Larry Bird misses the first shot here in the second period?
They have had difficulty in getting a rhythm when they've gone to the bench offensively. And they have two scorers in there right now, Danny Ainge and Larry Bird.
They muscle a field goal that time. They get Carr in for the layup. How about defensively with this group?
This crew right now can give up an awful lot on the inside. And Antoine Carr is one of the real good low-post players in the league.
Bird coming in. He didn't travel, did he, folks? Akers follows it. They fail on the gamble, and the Hawks make them pay as Battle rips the net.
He's a story. Bouncing back from hepatitis.
Was it type A or B, Tom?
It was type B, the most dangerous kind, I'm led to believe, and I'm surprised he's even playing.
Bird coming around the corner and missing again, and Livingston gets it into Rivers' hands, and he's fouled by Minifield. Will come back for the Celtics.
You know, may it seem like the Celtics play a lot of minutes, but they also get a lot of time on the bench because Casey Jones substitutes around timeout, so they usually get an extra 2 minutes on the bench, perhaps more so than other coaches.
A technical has just been called on KC. He was up complaining to Mathis, and Mathis banged him with a technical. Casey is such a calm man over there. Doesn't rant and rave. You don't even know when a technical's coming from. And I can remember who was that big fella, that guy Heinsohn.
But I used to get him at home. Casey doesn't get too many at home. He may get them on the road.
29-24, Atlanta. Hastings backing in on Bird, who knocked it away and forced the turnover. Minifield trying to bust through the foul that time.
Again, Doc Rivers Rivers played real good defense, and I think it was Antoine Carr also that cut off the passing angle. Robert Parrish was out there in front, and he was open for a layup.
To the top, and the three by Ainge is on the money. Danny Ainge hits the first three for the Celtics here, and it's a 2-point Atlanta lead, 29-27. Into this game, Tommy, you and I will select the Miller Lite Player of the game, and Light Beer will present a check in the amount of $1,000 to the National Multiple Sclerosis Society.
They just isolated battle on one side of the court, and Robert Parrish went down to try and protect against the drive, and he was well below the foul line. That is an illegal defense. The second, so it's a technical foul, and the Hawks will be shooting with Hastings at the line. He warmed up for shooting that technical before the game by shooting over the head from midcourt. That's probably Mike Fratello's secret play at the last 3 seconds of a ball game. 30-27, Hawks over the Celtics. We're in the opening minutes here of the second period. Doubleheader day on CBS. How about the Lakers being pressed by the Jazz? Most of you will see that game next. 2-1, Frank Layden and the Jazz with the lead there. Foul is called on the penetration. Akers standing there in the middle. Celtics have done a lot of work on that penetration. The first 2 ball games, that's the only thing the Hawks had going for them. Got a television timeout in Atlanta. 3-point Hawk lead. Philosophy of Red Auerbach and everybody else that players ought to be able to play 40 minutes. Rivers. Rivers is the only one of all the Hawks that is able to diversify his offense a little bit. Outside, some drives to the hoop. Hawks ball. Bird. A 4-on-3, and Dominique just took a tough shot. Spin by Paxson and a dish to Akers, who was wrapped up and fouled by Hastings. Okay, the Celtics, whenever Dominique has the ball, they're ready to rush 2 guys right at him, and Dominique is really too anxious to score and help his ball club and not reading the defense. Johnson set to return here for Jones. 32-27, Hawks over the Celtics, and Ainge sits. And McHale will be the next regular to return. In 16 minutes from that bench so far, Tommy, the Celtics have only 2 points. Well, that's what really been their problem. They really don't get a lot of offensive production because most of the people they put in there are defensive people, not offensive people. And you always kind of leave 2 offensive starters in there to try and help them score, but really doesn't. Losing to the Denver comeback. Great coaching decision to have Hanslick shoot that last shot by Doug Moe yesterday. Carr misfiring, Parrish rebounding. Bird is fouled by Carr. Willis and McHale checking back in. Carr sits down. Bird is 3 of 9 from the field. If you're wondering about Wilkins, he is 3 of 8, and he's added a couple of free throws. Knocked away. Just cannot find his stroke. He has a shot. He went over 2 Celtic defenders. There was an open man, and he is just beside himself underneath that what appears to be a cool exterior right now. But he has got to read the defense a little bit better to create situations for his teammates right now. He's not had a hot hand. Ainge is the only Celtic regular out right now. McHale drawing 2 defenders, gets it into Johnson's hands. Left-handed shot rejected and knocked out of bounds by Rollins. Garland has been a mighty important player for these Hawks over the years. He doesn't score a lot of points or give a lot of assists, but sure, he has a tremendous presence in the paint.
McHale underneath, foul. One of the things the Hawks need is a shooter, a two-guard, if you will. And here this morning in the Atlanta Journal, one columnist said, give up 3 players for Rex Chapman.
Well, I don't know. Rex Chapman would have been going into his junior year, and that's an awful lot to put a gamble on. This team is right on the verge of being a great team, and it takes a little while for it to gel and learn certain ways to play effectively with each other. And one of these things might be this playoff series.
Oh, we'll find out who might have the drafting rights to Chapman. We have the lottery next week here on Saturday. Kevin Willis jump hooking the ball in. 34-29, a 5-point Atlanta lead inside of 8 minutes first half. They turn it over again. That's number 8 for the Celtics in the first half. Boy, I'll tell you, Wilkins sticks right with it. Willis is perfect. Right man in the right place off that Wilkins miss. Timeout is called. Wilkins complaining he was fouled. A 22nd timeout called in that situation. That's where we come back rather hastily here at the 7:28 mark. 36-29. Atlanta leading Boston. This is their biggest lead of the game so far. Tommy, you mentioned at the top of the broadcast that they had to start quicker than they did in Boston.
They certainly have, and they put pace in the game. And even though Dominique is missing those shots, they are easy offensive rebounds for the other Hawks, and that's part of their game too. Good offensive rebound. And
Willis is perfect with 5 rebounds, Tommy. He scored 12 points here the opening half. Now he gets a defensive rebound. That's 6 for the half. Doc Rivers back on the floor for Coach Fratello. Whitman off the fake with a runner, hits it. That's his first field goal of the afternoon. 38-29 Atlanta over Boston.
If I ever saw a player in need of a confidence boost, it was Randy Whitman.
Now McHale swings the hook. Knocked away from Parrish. Atlanta will have it out of bounds. Now we've got a television timeout. 44 to go here in the first half. Atlanta leading Boston 38-20.
Okay, no Buffoon there.
And those of you in Detroit and Chicago, of course, will watch number 4 between the Bulls and the Pistons as the Bulls attempt to even that series up at 2 victories apiece. So here Atlanta with much more solid first half than up in Boston as the Tree swings one in off a limb.
What a smart matchup to take advantage of that time. Giving it to Tree, being guarded by Larry Bird. They're trying to put the ball on Larry Bird's face a little bit too.
Well, Rollins and Willis and even Carr playing better on the inside than they did in the first 2 games. Bird off a beautiful fake. Now gets it to Parrish. Up the floor to Dominique's hands, and he hits the open man this time. And Whitman has got to hit that shot.
That's what he's getting paid for, to hit that type of shot on the up quicks.
Now Johnson is left alone. He is short. Atlanta's ball. No offensive rebounds the last couple of trips for the Celtics. Great spin by Wilkins. Up high on the glass. But the Hawks get a second opportunity here, leading 40-29.
Whether you make them or you don't make them, every fast break has a real effect like a jab does in a boxing match.
Johnson fouled Wilkins. That's his 3rd personal foul here in the first half. Minifield will check back in off that Celtic bench. Goes back to Wilkins with an errant pass. Bitteneef runs it down now. Shot clock running down and goes off. Celtics ball on the turnover.
I tell you, Dominique is so anxious right now. Every time he handles the ball and nothing good happens, he's looking over at Mike Fratello. And that's not the way a player of his stature should be right now. You can tell he's having emotional problems dealing with his inability to score.
But he should absorb the score, Tommy. It's 40-29. The Hawks with the lead as Spud Webb is due to check in at the next opportunity. The Celtics as a team have gone cold. They have missed their last 8 field goals. Bird could not end the drive. Atlanta's ball.
Bird has gone cold. And that is a big part of their offense, particularly that outside shooting. That's what helps keep the big Atlanta Hawks off Parrish and McHale down low.
Now Willis. And the tap is good. No, it is not. No basket. It is waved off.
That's 2 tip-ins that they claim the Hawks made over the cylinder. Beautiful pass that time. And you watch the shot go up now. Looked like it was out, but it's got to be completely off the cylinder, which it wasn't.
They were still up on the cylinder. It's 40-29. Atlanta over Boston. Littlefield moves it to Bird. There's the stroke from the left baseline. Lead is 9. Up and is fouled, so he'll step to the free throw line as Kevin McHale commits his first personal.
See, McHale took one side of the court away from Dominique, and a second defender was going to take away the spin move to the middle, and McHale was right with the hand in a proper place to try and block Wilkins' shot, but Wilkins, very smart, just turned around and made the contact happen.
Tommy, as you take a look at Dominique, bathed there in perspiration, you can tell the nervous energy that he's expending. You've been pointing out how he's been looking over at the bench and everything, frustrated, but yet in all, the Hawks are on top of the Celtics right now.
Well, he should realize that, just like you said, and maybe he'll relax a little bit and get into the flow of the game a little better than he has been.
Robert Parrish trying to get in, 6 points here in the first half. Webb quarterbacking the Hawks. He'll take the jump shot. And Parrish gets the rebound, throws the long pass for Bird off Dominique's hand. Celtics ball.
That was an out-and-out hustle play by Dominique Wilkins.
Well, the Celtic front line is not dominated as they did in the first 2 games. The Hawks playing much better on the inside. Now Parrish and McHale have put together back-to-back field goals. That's 9 for McHale here in the first half.
Celtics move the ball around so well, and they move your defense. They cause openings in your defense, and they can pass right through those little slits.
And their defense, Tommy, has forced 5 misses in a row by the Hawks. Wraparound pass. Rollins hits the jump hook.
If the Celtics have a weakness, it's in penetration, because their entire back line moves to the penetration, and Spud Webb can really do a tune on that type of situation.
Great pass back to Parrish from Bird. So 3 straight baskets on the inside, 2 by Parrish, 1 by McHale, and a great almost touch pass that time by Larry Bird with timeout and 2:51 left in the half.
One, Pat O'Brien. Tommy Heinsohn and I would like to go back to the Northeast this afternoon on our own CBS airline if we could, but you know that has to help the Pistons.
Well, Chuck Daly says that that's worth at least 5 games a year to him. He didn't appreciate what the travel did to a ball club until he got that airplane.
What's the toughest part of the travel when you're a coach or a player in the NBA?
Well, it's really getting up early in the morning so that you make sure that you get to the next place on time.
KC has decided he'd like to give it up.
calling an end to a fabulous coaching career. That man right next to him, Jimmy Rogers, will be his successor as Parrish misses the free throw. Now the front line for the Celtics, they have outplayed the Hawks in the first 2 games. There's a difference here this afternoon. Atlanta 30 front line points, the Celts 28. And here is the only man struggling. Dominique Wilkins coming up with a jump shot, and now if he gets into the flow, Bird went down hard to the floor. That's 12 points for Dominique. Bird slowly gets up and comes back on the attack for the Celtics. Wilkins jumping out that time, and the foul is called.
You know, to play Larry Bird, what you have to do is really have fast feet. Dominique's got that, but the Celtics will throw 2 picks at you, and Dominique has to slide by both those picks. All Bird needs is a ½ inch to get a shot off, and he can normally make a good percentage even with that ½ inch advantage. And this man has faced a lot of tough picks in this series so far.
Now the Hawks are over the limit, so Larry Bird will step up here and shoot. Larry Bird is coming off his best scoring year ever in the NBA. Only 2 players averaged more points per game than he did. Michael Jordan of the Bulls and Wilkins here of the Hawks. He almost hit the 30 mark. He has been a first-team All-Star ever since he came to the NBA out of Indiana State.
Outside of the first game, though, I don't think these are really spectacular games by Bird. Game 2, all he did was kind of pass the ball around. Didn't have a particularly good shooting night.
Well, again, it is Wilkins coming in, missing, and stays with it and tried to steal the ball, but he stepped out of bounds. Earl Strom on top of that call at the baseline.
That was as good a shot as Dominique's going to get. He had almost a straight angle right to the basket that time. He beat McHale clean.
Now we're inside of 2 minutes. Minifield cut off from penetrating all the way to the glass that time. Spud Webb hounded him. Bird with a jump pass and an easy shot for Parrish. That's 10 points for the Chief. Wilkins again shooting, and that time it rattled in.
That's the way to get the ball to Dominique before the defense is totally set up so he can go into his act. Very effective coming from Spud.
McHale stays with it. That's 11 for McHale. 5-point Atlanta lead, 48-43. Whitman working the baseline, comes free at the right side. Bird reaches for the miss.
Boy, when you're working picks for a shooter like Whitman and he can't connect, you almost want to take him out of the offense entirely.
Now Parrish with an offensive rebound is fouled. He wanted that field goal and a chance for a 3-point play. As it is, he'll be shooting a couple of free throws. That's 3 fouls on Rollins. That one is against Rollins.
Robert Parrish has been probably the most consistent player in the games played to date in this series, both scoring-wise and rebound-wise. Came up with a lot of big offensive rebounds in games 1 and 2.
Only 3 centers in the NBA have won championships in the 80s.
And he's one of them.
And the other 2 are Abdul-Jabbar
and Moses Malone.
That's right, with Philadelphia when Billy C. was the coach in there.
What a win for answering that question.
I got a McDonald's.
The CBS plane?
I got one of those caps. Dennis watching from the Celtic bench. It's 48-45. This is not by far the Celtics' best half of the series, but they're right there looking the Hawks in the eye here at the intermission. Willis jumps it in.
The Celtics are putting Robert Parrish on Willis because Willis is going to hang around that low post, and Bird is taking the biggest guy on the court normally. Now he'll end up with Livingston.
Bird coming through the top. And Ainge fires a 3. Missing that one, and it winds up in Spud Webb's hands, and Minifield fouled him.
Midfield will be an important player for the Celtics to try and stop Spud Webb. He's the only guy on the Celtics got quickness to try and stay with Spud.
Now, you know, in some situations, a coach might be unhappy with a player for committing that personal foul. K.C. Jones prefers to look ahead here to the last 21 seconds. From the Omni in Atlanta, Georgia, with Tommy Heinsohn, I'm Brent Musburger, and this is Spud Webb at the free throw line for the Hawks, who have led all the way. Pat O'Brien will be coming your way at the half from Studio 43 in Manhattan.
You know, Spud Webb, if the tempo was set rather high in the beginning of the game by the other point guard, and then you bring in Spud, he truly becomes an accelerator, can take the legs right away from another ball club. Sometimes he's not nearly as effective because the first unit doesn't run as hard.
KC wanted Minifield to bring the seconds down inside of 10. Last shot time for the Celtics. Knocked away from McHale. Celtics ball with 5 seconds remaining. A 7-point Atlanta lead, 52-45. Kevin Willis with a big first half. Doc Rivers, still limping because of that toe injury he suffered early in the game, will come back, and they will take out the smaller Webb for the last 5 seconds, give themselves a little more size defensively. McHale couldn't get it to fall, and that'll do it here in the first half. Mike Fratello and the Atlanta Hawks lead the Boston Celtics 52-45. Pat O'Brien's back, the Prudential at the half, right after this message. Videotape. Frontline scoring. The Hawks much more impressive in this one than they were in the first two. Off the bench, well, the Celtics have only one contributor, and that is Akers. The Atlanta bench outscoring them 14-3. Now, the two superstars. Bird, who came in shooting 56% in this series, is only 4 of 12. And Wilkins, 5 of 13 here in the full rookie from Palos Verdes, California, and not a 27-year-old from Pacific Palisades.
Got to get those things straight, right?
Dennis Johnson bringing it across for the Celtics, down by 7. That familiar starting 5, looking to get Larry Bird into the scoring column early. Johnson takes it back as they sealed up McHale on a quick double team, and Rollins off with a miss.
Well, they're giving the Celtics one shot.
Doesn't take Wilkins long, and if he gets into the flow here early, look out.
Well, Mike Fratello obviously calmed Dominique down, and he really has flown in the second halves of these ball games and in this series so far. So let's see what he does.
So they've elected to give Johnson that jumper, drop Rivers off on the double team on both sides, but Parrish hits anyway that time. 14 points for the Chief.
Celtics obviously coming out of the locker room saying, hey, let's get back to our strength, the inside game. Get it to McHale, get it to Parrish. Let's work those matchups.
How about the Celtics defense on the inside, Tommy? What do you see there?
Well, the defense on Dominique Wilkins right now is still their key guy. And they managed to do something with him, but Willis is the guy that's really hurt them, and Parrish has not done the job on him.
So Rivers backs up with a perimeter shot. Wilkins and Rivers with 2 quick field goals, and Johnson coming in and an illegal defense at that time.
Well, Doc Rivers was all the way over at the other side of the floor, double teaming a man in the low post who didn't have the ball, and that immediately is an illegal defense.
So that's the 3rd illegal defense, and Bird stepping up to the line for the Celtics.
You see the Hawks are so ready to give help to whoever's guarding McHale or Parrish.
You would think that that Bird jump shot from 15 or 16 feet would be a critical maneuver now for the Celtics here in the opening minutes of this half.
Well, the Hawks have said Dennis Johnson has got to prove it to me from the outside. They're using his man to do all the doubling. Dennis is going to have to hit from the outside, 18 feet. He's not a three-point shooter. And what he did effectively in the prior 2 games was take the return pass and drive to the hoop.
Did a big one against the Celtics, didn't he? Celtics get one from McHale.
Great passing angle that time to slide the pass right down the baseline.
Wilkins misses that time, and Johnson rebounds. Now here's Bird on the right wing. McHale saved it, but he traveled.
Celtics had their two big guys steaming up the middle of the court, wide open. Not handled cleanly.
It's 56-50. The Hawks lead the Celtics. Now Wilkins comes across to the strong side. Missing again. He's 1 of 3 here in the third period. Defense comes out strong on Bird, and they go to Parrish on that side. Goes against the Hawks as Parrish went down, and he is reaching for that ankle.
Parrish has enjoyed an advantage over Tree Rollins, who but Parrish forced to the fall away and then comes down really on Tree's foot, sprains his ankle. Didn't look like much of a foul there to me.
I think the official, as you saw him underneath the basket, looked away, and when he turned back and saw Parrish on the floor, he may have assumed that Rollins crushed him that time. It's a big personal against Atlanta. It is number 4, and Parrish, who was bothered by a sprained ankle in the championship series last year, comes up to the free throw line and bangs in the first one.
Parrish, over the years, has had trouble with the bottom of his feet, his arches. And he runs kind of funny, but when he's feeling good, boy, he can step out on that fast break.
Missing the second one. Bird, though, kept it in play for the Celtics. Does a good job down there, and he's picked clean, and a foul is called. That's his first personal.
There's Bird, and great hands by Doc Rivers as Bird thought he had it well protected. Doc Rivers is an exceptionally fine defensive ball player with his hands and feet too.
Rolling off that pick and wasn't too well executed.
Celtics just played that the way you're supposed to play a pick and roll. Switch quick and don't let the roll man head for the hoop.
They kept Willis out there, Tommy. Ball went over his head and out of bounds. McHale coming out high now, and here's Parrish too. Bird. Find it back in. He'll penetrate and go to the left hand, and he draws the foul.
That's what makes Larry Bird so tough to defend, because he doesn't really need a lot of room to get a shot off. He's got his game down to the half inch, and he can shoot righty or lefty, so you almost have to play him nose up. And boy, when you do that, just a little fake gets him to the middle.
And when you watch him play, so often if something isn't working, he'll go to another phase of his game. A fadeaway jump shot has been a little off today, so he was going to penetrate that time and use the left hand with Rollins watching in the 4 fouls. The Celtics have eased to within 3, and number 3, it's 56-53 at the 8:50 mark, third period.
Without Tree Rollins in the ball game, perhaps the Hawks will have a little bit more difficulty rebounding with Hastings in there.
Well, the whistles have taken over here for the time being. That foul on McHale, his second. So the game looking for a flow right now.
Spud Webb is back in. A man that puts a little pace and tempo into the Hawks attack. And he certainly had an effect in the first half.
Puts the Hawks up by 4. Dominic misses that free throw. That is the Hawks' first miss from the free throw line here this afternoon. Double team works. Hastings has it. It's 3-on-1. And Willis for an easy deuce.
That was really caught the Celtics napping, that little pressure defense.
Ainge fires up as he is fouled.
Mike Fratello is very cute as to when he uses that trapping defense, half-court trap. And it caught the Celtics once by surprise. This time, Danny Ainge got it down, expecting the double, and picked up the foul. and really what was one of those false shooting attempts. You know, wait for the blow and then take the shot.
Tell me, how difficult is it to shoot in a new arena like this for the Celtics?
You know, one of the things that I've always thought is that now that the three-point play has come into prominence so much, that it's more difficult to score outside in other arenas than in your own home court. And the Celtics rely a great deal on that three-point shot.
That's been the case here today. Bird, for example, has been off. Now Willis pounded a couple of times by Hastings, and it wouldn't go down, and it's the Celtics ball. Ainge quickly to the attack. Spud Webb with him. Willis to help out, and they get it to McHale. He bangs in off of Hastings and commits his third personal. Hastings did a good job of drawing the charge that time in the middle.
Sure did. They rotated beautifully, and without Tree Rollins in there, that looks like what they're going to do with their team. Don't worry about the size. Let's try and utilize quickness. Although I never considered Hastings to be a speed merchant.
Wilkins comes out and gives it back to Spud. Good ball movement. Open man Whitman. This time he buries it.
He looks more comfortable shooting down into the basket from out in front than on the baseline.
One of the few times that Wilkins has looked passing rotation here today. Ainge doing a number, drawing fouls.
Celtics may got away with one right there.
It's a three. And another foul.
When you get a good game out of Spud, you usually get it on the offensive end of the court. But he presents real problems defensively, and not so much that a big guy will take him in close to the basket. They just have a natural shooting advantage over him even outside. And Danny Ainge right there for the three, and all Spud could do was reach up and hit him on the elbow.
Here in the Omni with Tommy Heinsohn, I'm Brent Musburger. Atlanta has led this one all the way. They have not yet won a game in this Eastern Conference semifinal. They lead it 61-56. Time remaining in the lower right-hand corner is in the third period. Off the dribble, Wilkins goes to the glass.
And McHale just retreated so far back so he wouldn't get the spin move. Smart play by Dominique that time.
Applying a little pressure on the Celtics here in this half as they bring the ball across. And they steal it from Johnson. Wilkins gets it into Webb's hands. They get it back to Dominique. Offensive foul. Dominique can't believe it. The crowd roaring its disapproval as we go to a timeout. There's no question about the defensive play here that Dominique Wilkins turns in for the Atlanta Hawks. He makes a great steal on Dennis Johnson. What about the controversy at the other end here?
Well, he turns it up and he gets into the lane, and up he attacks the basket as Spud is pushing it up. And Robert Parrish, a lone defender down there, really goes and takes away the attack angle, goes straight up in the air, hands up, and you see Dominique creating the contact, and that's what they called, and I think they were right.
I do too. Good call. He was leaning in with his body. It was an offensive foul by Dominique Wilkins at 63-56. Atlanta and Wilkins leading the Celtics here in the third.
Celtics have only taken 4 shots this quarter so far.
It was number 5, and Bird gets an offensive rebound, and again the whistle sounds.
The Hawks really have a very good defensive ball club. It takes time for a team to get together to play defense. This club has been together for about 4 years, the nucleus of it. And they seem to know what each other are going to do in the help part of the defense.
Boy, Celtics are shooting that bonus here early. Only 2 team fouls on the Celtics in this period. 63-57.
A 6-point Atlanta lead.
Press defense has hurt the Celtics quite a bit. Good move by Mike Fratello.
They move it to the corner. Rimmed out for Whitman.
Celtics having difficulty finding somebody in the low post.
And that offensive foul. Number 2 on Bird. Here's Wilkins. Got it cleared out. Came up on McHale.
That's a good spot for Dominique Wilkins to be trying to locate on that, right on the box in the low post. Even though McHale's much bigger, Dominique has got that great leaping ability, and you have to play him letter perfect to even give him trouble on that shot.
And that's the 4th personal on McHale with a 66-57 lead. Some daylight here for the Hawks in the 3rd period. Over to Ainge. Bird going for the offensive rebound. Wilkins coming up with him, fouled him, and that's 4 on Wilkins.
Celtics kind of beat presses in a different way. They use three-point shooters in the corner. They're just as glad to get the ball to Danny Ainge in the corner as most teams are to get a layup versus a press.
Akers checking in for the Celtics. McHale sits. Bird hits both his free throws. 66-59. Time remaining 3rd period. Hastings, Willis, and Wilkins, along with Whitman and Webb for the Hawks. Illegal defense.
Called on Robert Parrish, who was out challenging potentially Spud Webb in a rotation of the double team, but then when Danny Ainge got back to his man, Parrish never got out of the lane.
Livingston returning, and Wilkins sits. Hastings backing in on the strong side. Comes up over Bird. It's a 10-point Atlanta lead on Boston. Bird moving inside to the glass. Kept in play by Akers. Good play. Ainge off the fake. Crowd wanted traveling. Ainge gets the field goal. Webb all the way to Willis. Score it and put him on the line.
What a weapon, Spud Webb. Celtics make a basket. Look how quickly they get it to Spud. And he's right back at you, in your face. Takes it strong to the hoop. Draws all that attention. Finds a man out in front of him. And he makes the pass while he's on the ground, which is always a tough pass to try and pick off.
Nice free throw. You know, the Celtics had Akers pick him up high. That was the wrong man. You got to attack Webb early, but you got to get there with speed. And the Celtics pay a price. It's a 10-point Atlanta lead. 4:07, 3rd period. And here in the East, a crowd of 16,451 on hand in the Omni, with the Atlanta Hawks, who have led all the way, up by 10 and 4 minutes to go in the 3rd period. Celtics ball. And again, some of that pressure which has bothered the Celtics here in the 3rd period. Is it my imagination, or do the playoffs seem a little more competitive this year in the NBA? Bird misfiring, but Ainge gets it back and hits a left-handed shot.
Now, Bird has had his shooting problems here today. All the shots that they count on him to make, those tweeners, 18-footers, he's not been hitting them.
He's only 4 of 14, Tommy, and he had some difficulty shooting in Madison Square Garden, didn't he, against the Knicks?
I think his role against the Knicks was more as a passer than a shooter, but it's not in this series.
Well, he contributed defensively there against Hastings. He's breaking down on the left wing, and Johnson pulls it up and misses the jump shot. Willis rebounding, gives it up to Webb. Quickly past Parrish into the middle and off to Livingston.
Big troubles when Spud Webb comes at you and you're 6'7" or over. You can't even come close to slowing him down.
The crowd starting to believe in Atlanta. Webb stepped in and drew the foul.
Spud Webb, as little as he is, has played big here today.
All his life, people have told him he's too small. Can't make it, can't play. Yes, he can. 5'7" and coming to the free throw line.
You know, when you bring him in against the tired front line, that makes him doubly effective. So if you can take some legs away from him, you watch Dennis Johnson can't keep up with him. Akers has to pick him up at the foul line. Bird makes his move, and of course that leaves Livingston wide open. And Spud will read that defense and create the good opportunity for one of his teammates.
Bird, McHale, and Ainge. And Bird, in disgust, tosses away that water cup. He portrayed how things have gone here for the Celtics at number 3 with number 4 tomorrow night in the Omni. A quick turnaround for a veteran team. No roll that time, but Minifield gets it back. Roberts is out there. Gilmore seeing his first action. Taken away from Roberts. The Hawks out hustling the Celtics. Livingston short. Minifield controlling. Johnson's still on the floor. Of K.C. Jones starters, he's the only one still on the floor.
And this team really hasn't played an awful lot of basketball in the playoffs against the Knicks or the Hawks in the prior 2 games.
And Fratello counters by going to his bench.
One of the things that K.C. Jones is concerned about, too, is that the 4th game in this series is going to be tomorrow night. So he's got to be careful about not extending his 5 starters past the point where it's profitable or they have an ability to try and win this one.
On the floor for the Hawks right now. Rivers is there with Battle, Willis, Carr, and Livingston. And Strong lecturing Fratello. Leading 74-65 and inside of 2 minutes in the 3rd period. Carr on the inside, and Gilmore deflected it illegally. Score it for the Hawks. Now he comes up to that line and stops.
Celtics are trying to find a hot hand with this crew out on the court right now.
Offensive rebound by Roberts, knocked away by Livingston.
even though you miss a shot, you usually get good opportunities to rebound if your big people are hustling up the court, because nobody concentrates on blocking a man out on the fast break.
Johnson now joining the other Celtic starters on the bench, with Ainge coming back in. So he leaves one of his veteran guards out there. Falling today for the Celtics. It's 76-65, coming up on the 1-minute mark in the third period. Carr against the double team goes across the battle. And Battle rattles in a 2-point field goal. He wanted the 3, but it was a 2. Gilmore on the inside, and he was fouled. The veteran center, Artis Gilmore, can he help Boston?
He sure can, and he already did in game 2, where he was the emotional spark that I think kind of turned the Celtics around in a tough ball game. He blocked Dominique Wilkins' shot. And all I need from Artis Gilmore in these playoffs, maybe about 8 tough minutes to rest Robert Parrish, not give up anything, and he's just the perfect guy. He's got lots of experience.
Lojas seeing his first action, and Roberts sits.
Casey Jones is taking a calculated gamble here right now. He really has a dilemma. Do I rest my starters? Can these guys from the bench get us back in the ball game? If they don't, I may just let them play the rest of the ball game and get them in playoff shape.
Overall, Tommy, the Celtics 4 of 15 this quarter, or 27%.
And you'd have to say the Atlanta Hawks defense, they hounded Bird. Dominique, after game 1, started to really play the picks pretty well, force Bird to whatever weaknesses he has, which are very few. And the team defense of the Hawks kind of helped out on Bird.
He shot 4 of 14 before going over to the bench. 34 seconds in the third. 80-67. The Hawks have led it all the way. Lojas to Gilmore, who maneuvers in on the inside, but the whistle and the foul called before the shot. That's 5 on Carr.
Carr has an awful lot of skills offered to this ball club, but every once in a while he just gets caught in these foul trouble situations and takes himself out of the game.
So Hastings back into the game. Boston has shot 30 free throws already. Made 21. It's 80-68. Inside of the 32nd mark here. Rivers bringing the clock down. Battle. That'll do it. After 3 periods, the Atlanta Hawks are in control of the Celtics. We'll return after this message and a word from your local station. Lead of the game by the Hawks, 82-68 over the Celtics. Tommy, we have alluded to the minutes played by Casey Jones starters, who will all start the 4th period. There they are in the first 2 games. 5 men going 40 minutes or plus, and they bring them back here. You would think that he would be under that here this afternoon unless they stage a great rally here early.
Well, Casey Jones was hoping that that bench would cut into the Hawk lead. Instead, they lost some with the bench. So now he's going to try and dig this one out for at least a significant number of minutes with his starting five. But he's got to be awfully aware of the fact that there's another game tomorrow night.
Bird knocks it away from Battle and out of bounds. It's interesting that the Hawks open this period with Dominique Wilkins still on Mike Fratello's bench. Battle and Rivers out there with Hastings, Willis, and Livingston. And Johnson at the top. Now it's Bird, who has not shot well. Throws up another miss from the corner. Rebound Atlanta. Battle. Now the crowd will carry you home in this one now. Parrish has it knocked away, and he's fouled by Hastings.
No question that the Hawks have brought their tempo into the game down here, and on this particular play, the Celtics trying to isolate Robert Parrish against a much smaller player, and Parrish, saying, hey, you didn't have to bang me that hard. But there's been a couple of little fiascos going on in the first two games involving Willis, McHale, and Danny Ainge.
You could feel the optimism growing here with the crowd as Wilkins returns 8 of 18 from the field. But offsetting that is the fact that Larry Bird has not had the hot hand. In the early moments of this game, the crowd did not believe. They were uneasy. Celtics took them out in 5 a couple of years ago. Battle rips away.
John Battle is some kind of offensive machine, and considering that he's not 100%, I think it's truly amazing.
The Hawks are getting a hand on almost every interior pass now. Frequently they're committing fouls, true, but they are doing a good job of attacking the ball. Bird comes free. Off-balance shot. That's 5 on Hastings.
Casey Jones trying to get Bird back into this ball game, and Bird knows that he has to do something at this particular point if the Celtics hope to make a run at the Hawks.
Trailing it by 15. 86-72. Now 14. 10-30. Player the Celtics have to be a little careful with is number 12 out here. Battle has shown a good shooting touch this afternoon. He'll jack the three. This time he misses it. McHale rebounding. Ainge across the Bird. Touch it back to McHale. And another foul is called as McHale came in on the drive. And Hastings collapses behind the support as he is fouled out of this game at the 10-minute mark.
What a good player he is for this ball club. He can come in and fill in a couple of spots. Very, very smart defensively.
And the crowd respects what he contributes. Three free throws, and it's a 13-point lead by the Hawks.
Celtics really weren't able to get the ball into Kevin McHale's hands an awful lot this afternoon either.
86-74 at the 10-minute mark. Atlanta's led it all the way in case you just joined us. Now Battle misfires. Fratello may elect to take him out, and he does. Here comes Whitman. We'll have a timeout at the 9:40 mark. It's 86-74. Atlanta leading Boston. Afternoon doubleheader Sunday with Tommy Heinsohn. I'm Brent Musburger. A summary of this game will show you why the Atlanta Hawks have led it all the way. But if you're a Celtic fan, keep in mind that they have made 27 of 37 free throws in this game, and the Hawks are 16 of 19. That's an advantage of 11 right now, and they lead it by 12. Tommy, when the Celtics are trying to come back, what works against them as a unit?
Well, because they are not a fast team and they're a very big team, they really have difficulty pressing another ball club, and Casey Jones' best press team is sitting on the bench, and that's not his best offensive team. So when they get behind by big numbers, this is not the team on the court that can really play that upbeat defense sometimes to get them back in it.
They have drawn even in the rebounding category. 32 a team here so far. McHale jumps it back to Johnson as they search for the open man. The three by Bird, and he still does not have that shooting touch that we normally associate with Larry Bird. Wilkins at the other end doesn't either, and Parrish rebounds the miss. The two superstars struggle in number 3. 86-74, and Bird will try the other side. And Parrish underneath, pulling the rebound down, and a loose ball foul against Parrish. That's his first of the game.
You know, before this ball game, I was shooting hook shots.
I'm sorry, you were
dead in the corner, you know, and I was looking into the crowd. The rim seems to disappear when you go down into that corner.
Did you warn Larry Bird, or did you let him find out?
No, I didn't warn. I mean, just a normal observation that sometimes that's why I think even Whitman is shooting better out in front.
That's right. You did have considerable range with that hook shot, big fella, now that I remember.
I was just fooling around, but
off a miss. It's the Celtics ball. Trying to get to within 10 right now. They can draw inside of 10 for the last 5 minutes. As everyone knows, you've got a chance in the NBA. Parrish on the turnaround. He was off the mark. Here's Willis. So instead of going to 10, it's up to 14. And Willis with 20 points for the Hawks, and Fratello out on the floor this time. Ian Mathis with a conversation as timeout is called at the 8-minute mark. 88-74. Atlanta still leading Boston, and we'll return. We should remind Dick Stockton that all mailmen get up early.
in all kinds of weather.
You bet. Here today, the Celtics have shot only 38% after hitting 57% from the field in the first 2 games. Boston has made only 4 field goals this half, 4 of 19 or 21%. So they go cold in the South. Johnson to the paint on the penetrating move. Parrish trying to keep it alive. Hit last by Atlanta. Celtics ball.
Dennis Johnson was making that penetration move very effectively up in Boston. Anytime the ball went into the low post up there and the Hawks doubled down, try and take it out of the hands of McHale or Parrish, he would receive the outlet pass and then drive right to the basket.
I mean, what have the Hawks been doing differently defensively?
Well, I think the combination of really getting down quicker and double teaming, but I think their offense is much more improved. That's what the big change has been.
Here's Whitman scoring.
Whitman hasn't taken a three-point shot, to the best of my knowledge, all season long. And he's their main outside shooter. Every once in a while, he steps to the hoop when you race at him.
McHale misses. Hawks ball again. Dominique travel. don't see that very often with this veteran bunch. One of those horrible shooting afternoons. Ainge drawing the foul.
The Atlanta Hawks have been very, very good at denying the pass into that low post. Dominique Wilkins is getting right out on top of Larry Bird. And the guards of the Hawks are really challenging the Celtic guards and forcing them up to where a pass would be a very difficult pass to make. The passing angle very tough. And that's a big part of their defense so far. A big change from prior games.
Walton, of course, not playing for the Celtics because of that injury. He'll become a free agent at the end of this season. You wonder if an expansion team might not sign him as a free agent. McHale reaching in, fouling Willis. Well, the draft lottery next Saturday afternoon at halftime. David Stern, the commissioner, will be over there drawing out the envelopes, and they'll arrange the first 7 picks. Then later in June, they'll have a coin flip to determine the order that the 2 expansion teams will pick in, either 8th or 9th. The loser there, as I understand it, will have the first pick in the expansion pool. These teams can lose only 1 player, incidentally, in that draft. The Celtics will have some difficulty deciding who to protect. Obviously, the veterans will be on that list. Walton, the free agent, so he can sign with whomever he wants, I was told before the game. No question about him, as the whistle is blown down on the inside by Mathis. Now for Whitman, that is number 3.
As Whitman and Bird retaliating, that's what normal play in a low post. When a guard goes out there and tries to play a guy, and invariably he gets hit in the nose.
I would say that Larry Bird is in a foul mood this afternoon.
This has not been one of Larry's really good ball games. In many respects, not just shooting, but his passing hasn't been up to snuff, and his rebounding hasn't been the way. If Larry doesn't shoot well, he normally compensates rebounding-wise. Rivers. Doc Rivers right now is a hurting man.
Injured that toe in the first couple of minutes.
It might not be a bad idea at this juncture to get him out of there.
You know, I don't want to offer an alibi to Larry Bird, but he did miss practice yesterday because of a bad cold, and you wonder if perhaps he still isn't struggling somewhat physically in this game. I'm sure he'd never tell anybody that.
Improvement in the Atlanta defense is how quickly they're getting down to the double team of McHale and Parrott. And Willis has done a pretty effective job when he's been forced to defend against Kevin McHale in that low post with 1 man only, of even denying the pass into McHale.
How quickly the ebb and flow of a series in the NBA can change.
You know, emotions play such a part in playoff action. And when you go 2 up, it's a very, very tough-minded team that's going to come in and approach Game 3 the same way that they approach Game 1. And conversely, the team Atlanta's a pretty tough-minded ball club, too. And they say, hey, we're going home. We played better there.
They certainly have today. And Spud Webb is a big reason why. A toe injury that worked early to the benefit of the Atlanta Hawks. Rivers forced quickly to the sideline. Webb off the bench. He up-tempoed the game, and the Hawks have led it all the way. Traveling. There's a great story with the little men in the NBA. Mark Price at Cleveland. Even John Stockton, whom you'll see next with the Utah Jazz, not the biggest of guards, but he's splendid also. Dominique on a spinner, knocked away and out of bounds. Hawks ball.
That's the move that the Celtics are most concerned about, is that spin move. The Celtics have cut that down considerably on Dominique. But boy, Kevin Willis has played a super game. Spud Webb, Tree Rollins has come in. Everybody has really played much better than the prior game.
Webb's 3 missing. Parrish puts it into Ainge's hands. Penetrating with the move, wanting to pass it back. He traveled. The last field goal for the Celtics came with 3 minutes and 46 seconds left in the third quarter. There's 5:05 left in the fourth. They have gone almost an entire quarter here in Atlanta without a field goal. Wilkins to the middle is short, but an offensive rebound by the Tree, and he misses.
And he got fouled.
Now Bird drives through and goes to the left hand as the C opened in the middle. No one wanted to commit the personal with the big lead. Willis from the perimeter. 23 points for their power forward.
He's just been sensational today.
Ainge misfiring everything. They break out 3-on-1, and it's Willis missing that time, but it is tapped in. 25 for Dominique. I can't imagine any more noise being made out in Salt Lake than we had here during that commercial break. A standing ovation by the appreciative fans in Atlanta as their Hawks have opened up a huge lead here with 3:58 to go over the Boston Celtics. Spud Webb, one of the ringleaders from Mike Fratella's Atlanta Hawks, with owner Ted Turner in attendance this afternoon. The Celtics have beaten Atlanta 14 straight times in Boston. During that same period here in Atlanta, it is 5-6.
Casey Jones has gone to his bench, and Moss, the only starter remaining in there, Dennis Johnson. He's going to try and give his troops a chance to play, get some timing in the playoffs. And it's quite obvious that they are way off the mark.
Bird, Ainge, and McHale must come back quickly. Game 4 tomorrow night in the Omni. It's 99-82. And the Hawks about to break through in the first game of this series for them. They have lost 2 in a row. Knocked away. Webb bringing the seconds down.
Dirk Minifield will see more minutes, particularly if Spud Webb is going to be in the ball game for any significant amount of time in Game 4, because Minifield's the only one that's got the foot speed to try and contain Spud Webb.
Gilmore. What a difference.
Did something to his back in the first half. He's lying on a hot pack in front of the bench, so he will not be in there, and he's been their key offensive reserve off the bench since he arrived on the scene.
Well, there are 2 Hawks who have contributed mightily to this victory. Power forward Kevin Willis is one of them. But the ringleader has been 5'7" Spud Webb.
And I think Dominique Wilkins, too. Now, let's not take anything away from Dominique, Frank, because even though he had his troubles in the early part of his ball game, he contained his emotions after I think Mike Fratello spoke to him. And what I admire most about Dominique, I remember doing a game up at the Boston Garden, and the Celtics were up like about 40 points against the Hawks in a real meaningful game in a late season. And he was out and pressing defensively end to end, right down to the last minute of the ball game. That's a competitor in my book.
There was a shot of Paxson over on the sideline, and Tommy, you indicated it was a slight back strain, you thought, in the first half?
Well, when I went back to talk to Mike Fratello, he was being worked on, and he said something snapped, and obviously it's bothering him.
Inside of 2, and the Hawks will break into the win column here. Offensive foul. It goes over to the Celtics. No basket by Livingston on the Minifield driving free, had it knocked out of bounds. And Chris Washburn will see his first action. The Hawks would like to take a look and see if they should protect him in the expansion draft. I'm sure. Minifield hits a 3, 101-87. Washburn troubled by a drug problem on the West Coast. He is tested 3 times a week here in Atlanta, and so far he has passed all of the tests. And there's Battle bringing up another 2. 14 points for the former Rutgers star.
And he has given them the outside game that's helped spread out the Celtic defense a little bit in this game.
So number 4 on Monday night. Now the big one, as the Hawks will attempt to draw even before the series moves back to the Boston Garden. What this means is that there will be a 5th game in the Garden.
You know, none of these Celtic players have played any significant minutes in this playoff round, so in about 2 weeks, so their timing is way off. So this time right now might be very meaningful for the Celtics in game 4.
With less than a minute to go, I do want to fill you in on the K.C. Jones story. And talking to him earlier today, there have been some rumbles and rumors that he would show up as a coach again. He's leaving the Celtics this year. He said there's absolutely no truth to that. He's looking forward to moving into the Celtic front office, doing some scouting. He discussed it with his successor, Jimmy Rogers, as far back as December. The Knicks wanted Rogers to be their coach last fall, and Rogers was forced to say no because the Celtics were going to extract a #1 draft choice in return. And Casey telling Rogers to bide his time, that he thought the end was near. Conversations with Red Auerbach, they decided to wait until the conclusion of this season. But a Boston newspaper reporter was going to break the story, and Casey said, I wanted to tell the players first. That's why I elected to do it during the New York Knicks series. One of the classiest leaders that you'll see in all of sports, K.C. Jones. 4 straight trips to the NBA Championship Series. He still leads in this series 2-1, and Game 4 will be here tomorrow night, and it'll rock in the Omni. Spudwell. Minifield.
The Hawks got the up-tempo game. They've got some good outside shooting from people other than Whitman, and it's a win.
There's Wood firing in. So it goes for Atlanta here this afternoon.
The Celtics held serve twice up in the Boston Garden, and the Hawks have done likewise here in the Omni.
But can they do it 2 straight times? We'll find out tomorrow night. Atlanta with the win. Spud Webb will be our MVP here this afternoon. He had 12 assists to go with his 11 points. And Miller is proud to present a check for $1,000 to the Multiple Sclerosis Society on behalf of Spud Webb. With Tommy Heinsohn, I'm Brent Musburger. We hope you've enjoyed the action from the Omni.